You know, I could not let the month of Valentine's pass without talking about my personal favorite horror story from playing Dungeons and Dragons, at least when it comes to romance. Oh yes, I have my own D&D horror story to share with you, and some insights for both the game and for writing that came out of this experience. Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem, not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends, and anyone who plays D&D knows that it is a shared storytelling experience. Everyone comes together to the table to have fun, to share their own experiences, to share their characters, and just have a blast. However, sometimes there are relationships that begin to form around the table, or certain feelings that are already brought to the table that can sometimes muddle things up a bit. And in this case, it was a crush. Now, to be fair, I did not know that this girl had a crush on me until way after the fact. But here's the story. Some friends of mine who had just gotten married were like, you know what, we don't want to lose contact with all of our single friends. Oh, bless you guys. And they invited a whole bunch of people on over to their newlywed apartment to play Dungeons and Dragons. The husband had just gotten into the game. He was really excited to be a first-time dungeon master, and he was going to take things a little bit slow. He had taken an already pre-arranged module, and he was going to take us through a very simple quest of going and clearing out a cave, confronting a massive spider, and defeating it. However, one of the people that was invited on over to this game apparently had a crush on me for a little while. Well, I didn't know anything about this. Apparently, these people didn't know anything about it because they would have put an end to it immediately. Oh boy. Now, crushes in and of themselves are not a bad thing. The problem is that this girl really believed that somehow she could wow me and gain all my attention and affection by playing the most spectacular, overpowered Mary Sue character available. And she spent an entire weekend pestering the Dungeon Master and his wife for all the things that she would need in order to create a Mary Sue cleric. And the Dungeon Master's like, no, that's not okay. You're going to have to go according to the roll of the dice. And so already we get some conflict right there. Well, if she couldn't statistically get her Mary Sue cleric, then she was going to play that way. Only one problem. She didn't know how to play Dungeons and Dragons. So rather than taking this as a good learning experience and playing along with everyone else who was there, instead she was all like, oh no, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And the Dungeon Master then say, that's not allowed in the books. Sorry, you can't blow up the entire cave with that spell. Sorry, you just can't happen to locate where the treasure is. Sorry, you can't look at a person and know what they're thinking immediately. You're going to have to roll for this. And she'd be like, oh, really? And then, I kid you not, she would then spend the next 2 to 3 hours humming and hemming through the book, talking with the Dungeon Master and with his wife, giggling about a whole bunch of stuff, trying to completely derail the game in order to distract people from what she really wanted to do in order to have these really awesome moments. Now then, when a player takes 2 to 3 hours to do a single thing, obviously the game is not going to go very far. We actually never finished the opening module, which was, again, just simply go into a cave, clear it out, beat the massive ugly spider at the end. We never finished the module. Something that was designed by Wizards of the Coast to be completed within 2 hours tops. We spent over 20 hours on this and never finished it because of this one player. And she would especially get really excited when later on, after a few hours of waiting, I would get upset and just say, look, take your turn. Do something. See this right here? Do this. Oh, okay, I'll do it. And then would proceed to take half an hour to describe what the hey she was going to do, and would completely get lost in her own epic fairy tale storytelling and just proceed to derail everything even more. After a little more than a month of this, the game was disbanded. I never got to see my friends again. No, I'm not kidding you. I never saw those people again for like a decade. Yes, this story's a little bit old right here, but other than the girl who had the whole crush on me thing, the newlywed couple that was like, hey, we want to be friends with you guys, like, Lars, we know you from high school, we'd like to still have you be a part of our lives. No, the game was that abysmal that I was never invited back to the apartment. And also all the other people that were invited along, nope, never saw them again except for her. Years later, come to find out from some mutual friends, like, oh yeah, no, she was hoping that she could, like, wow you, and if she couldn't wow you, she wanted you to be so frustrated that you would give her, like, negative attention, and she was going to then twist that to everyone else, that you obviously had a crush on her because you wanted her to do so well in this game. Oh, my Naguta. So yes, in short, it was awful, it was horrible, it was such a mess. And I also didn't play Dungeons & Dragons for a while after that, because it was such an abysmal experience. Yeesh. So let's quickly first talk about what you should do if you're in this particular situation while playing Dungeons & Dragons. First thing is this. Crushes are fine, having romantic feelings are absolutely fine, but please be mature about it. When you come to play Dungeons & Dragons, you are there to have fun with other people, to share in the storytelling experience. You're there to lift them up as they lift you up, as you work together to win against the Dungeon Master. Actually, that's a bad way of putting it. You're not necessarily winning against the Dungeon Master, you're going through the Dungeon Master's story in order to beat the big bad evil guy, or complete the quest, or whatever it is that you want to do. You want to have a positive experience, and so if those feelings are not being reciprocated, please leave them at the door. It is fine to have them outside of the game, but please, please don't make things awkward, and sometimes feelings develop during the game. Again, be mature about it. Have real conversations with the person that you are having feelings for and who might reciprocate them back. Do not make it an issue within the game, and if you feel like it is going to be such, then please excuse yourself, or take the chance to talk it over with the Dungeon Master and find a mature solution to the issue. Communication is key, and I've talked a lot about that in the past. The other thing is this: if you are a new player, then please listen to what other people have to say. You will learn from them, and in time you will come to realize what you can do with your character. You're going to know your own character's personality, and you're going to make decisions. Do not take 2 to 3 hours to come up with what you want to do. And Dungeon Masters, if a player is taking way too long to come up with a simple solution or just do something within the game, skip them. Skip them. Just say simply within game, your character is just so bedazzled by the situation or just so stunned that they have no idea what to do. We're going on to the next person. And if the player's like, wait a second, but that's not fair, then say, look, you need to honestly take a turn. Pay attention to what's going on. If you need to take a pause to have a look at your character stats and your abilities, then please let me know that you need a quick pause. Everyone else will quickly grab some food, use the bathroom, and I will then talk with you about what you can do with your character. Obviously, this is stuff that should have been decided on and talked about while the characters were being built and during a zero session. So in order to avoid these kinds of issues, please be mature. Communicate with other people. If there's an issue, talk about it with the person that you're having an issue with, or talk about it with the Dungeon Master to resolve the issue. Dungeon Masters need to be in control of the game, and if a character or player is not doing what they're supposed to do, if they're not obeying the rules or taking way too long, then please have a quick chat with them. Let them know if they are not going to be able to do things within a proper amount of time, you are going to skip them, because everyone is here to have fun. And when you stall for 2 to 3 hours, that is not fun. And then as far as writing advice goes from this whole experience, because this seems more like a serious D&D problem, au contraire. Do you know how many authors out there want to work with their friends or with someone that they really have a crush on in order to create some awesome story? It happens all the time. The problem is this, is that if you're trying to just work with someone over a story because you're trying to get closer to them, it's not going to go over as well as you think. In fact, it could very likely blow up in your face. Instead, if you want to work together with a friend or someone that you like on a story, you need to properly communicate with them and make it about the story. The story is not a backdoor to their heart, not at all. You need to be focused on the story. You need to be united in who these characters are, what the world is, what the plot is, what you want to do with all of these things, the amazing reveals, twists and turns, the secrets, the romances, all the stuff, the drama that you have in mind for your story. You need to have a proper communication with this other person or with the group of people that you are working with. I've seen it happen so often where someone tries to work together with friends to make a story happen, and because people are like, oh, we're just friends, so yeah, we'll help you out a little bit, but they're not dedicated to the story and the project all falls apart. The person feels abandoned, they feel abandoned by their friends, they abandon their story, and then they feel absolutely miserable, like they suck. It's really sad to see that happen, and I don't like it. I don't like to see that happen. Other times you think that you're going to work with someone that's going to be really great, and then they proceed to try to usurp the project and take away the story from you. Or they try to go in a completely different direction than what you had intended or what you had both agreed upon earlier. So coming back to it, it is about communication, and it is about the story. If someone does not share your vision for your story, that you want to work together with them on it, then it's not worth it. No matter how burning your passion is for this other person, it is not going to end well. So as hard as it might seem, please leave your feelings at the door. You can do it. I believe in you. Focus instead on the story, whether that be the story of the D&D campaign that you're right now playing through or the story that you wish to write with someone else. Communicate properly. Let people know what you're envisioning, what you want to do with your story, or in the game, what you want to do with your characters, and start working together. Listen to feedback from other people. Honestly, incorporate their opinions into what you might want to do. Weigh it honestly. Don't just be like, oh, my heart goes out to them, so therefore I will cherish everything they say and put it above everyone else. No. Weigh everything equally. And again, focus on what is most important to the story and apply that instead. Do not make it about the romance. Romance is for away from the table or away from the story. Even if you are writing a romance, your time working with other people is better spent when you are focused on the project or having fun in the game. Otherwise, it becomes an unnecessary distraction that could very easily derail a very good thing. So please, take that as a warning from Lars, who's already lived through this, not just this one horrible time, but several times in the past. So, bearing all of that in mind, if you're looking for more insights, reviews, analyses, writing advice, gaming stories, and the likes, then please check out our other videos here on our channel. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and if you would especially like to support the work that we do, please check out the books that we have written. Links for all of them are in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us on this sometimes crazy adventure that we call writing. We are near the end of the month of Valentine's, so much joy, love, and happiness to all of you, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.